Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy Marcel. People at checking in. Man, it's been a long time. Should have left you without a really out your podcast to step two. I took a little time off, man. I had to go back to Oklahoma. I had some family issues or whatever, so I could, took some weeks off, but I'm really happy to be back at it. Especially happy today. You know what I'm saying? To have this particular guest. I first heard of this young man. I want to say, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say this. The first time I saw this young man live, I want to say it was 2000, Jesus, maybe 8 or 9. He was in New Orleans. I want to say Heineken had a show at the Republic, and he was opening for NERD because he just came off of his Search of NERD mixtape that for real heard himself, was like, yo, come up on this tour with me. So I want to say this is 2008, 2009. He literally is your favorite MC's favorite MC. Like I say, one of the last great real lyricists when it comes to just putting rhymes together. And I'm always amazed, you know what I'm saying, whenever he puts out a new musical outpouring. Ladies and gentlemen, if we was live, hey, pretty baby, hey, what's up, man? What's up, buddy? Yeah. So this is Mickey Factz. If we was live, I'd say y'all give it up. But yo, Mickey, what up, man?
It's Mickey, man. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? My little man, he wanted to come into the camera. So.
Yes, indeed. Is that a junior or?
He's the third, actually.
The third. Okay. All right. So Got you. That's what's up, man. I remember them days, man. Mine 10 to 8 now, but I definitely remember them days. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. Mine gonna pop in here in a second. They ain't never gonna leave you alone. and that's the beautiful thing about it.
I mean, I like him at this age, man. I always say I hope he stayed his age forever, but I know he won't. So I love him at this age. He's just.
I tell my daughter that. I said, no matter how old you are, you always gonna be my baby. My son too. Like, I look when I see you, I see that. You know what I'm saying? Like you see that little baby. So that's what's up. Yeah. So the first question I always ask before I actually kick off the official questions is, do you remember how we first met or where we first met?
I think my first memory of us actually communicating, I believe it was a show in Baton Rouge. Mm-hmm. And I believe it was in either 2012 or 2013. I remember because I was very angry at the show and how it turned out. You can take them here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's the first time. And I was just a little angry. And I wasn't even mad at Alfred. I was just mad at what was happening in my career at the time. And it just so happens that was just, it was just adding to it. You know what I mean?
So it was 2014. We're going to get to 2014 in a second. That is correct. And it sucks, man, because unfortunately, man, like Baton Rouge is a capital city, right? It has the largest land-wise HBCU in the country. And then you have the flagship state. And where we was like closer to LSU, you know what I'm saying, to the flagship university for the state. And, really maybe 20 minutes from Southern. So you would think that with all these college kids, you know what I'm saying, in this town, the Baton Rouge would have more of a burgeoning hip hop scene. And it never really has. You know what I'm saying? That venue that we was at, it's but it's never really been known. I want to say you might have had the first hip hop show there. You know what I'm saying? And then like a couple of weeks later, me and Alfred did Nappy Roots there. You know what I'm saying? So like you had a lot going against you. And then honestly, like it sucks because artists like yourself don't necessarily come to Louisiana. If y'all do, y'all come to New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? But it sucks, man. We don't turn out like we're supposed to. We just don't. You know what I'm saying? You would think that like all these college kids, you got college radio stations and things of that nature. A lot of these transplants, people from the East Coast who might be into that type of hip hop, they'll really pull up like they're supposed to. So I remember that show. And I remember talking to you outside. You was kind of like, man, yeah, this is you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like, and honestly, like, I'm the guy who brings everybody from Baton Rouge. You know what I'm saying? And so, in hindsight, Alfred probably should have let me book it because I lived in Baton Rouge, and I probably could have did a better job being my hands on the ground or whatever. But like, I mean, whenever rappers ask me, they say they want to come to Baton Rouge because they see what I do and they think the whole city's like that. You know what I'm saying? I normally got to preface. I'm like, look, brother, like realistically, this is what you're gonna do. Don't expect no, you know, we ain't filling up the Apollo here. We ain't filling up, you know what I'm saying? Santos Party House. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is, whatever. But you know,
talk about it.
But you've been to Louisiana several times with Alpha since then, and then you see it kind of is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
It kind of is what it is, man. But yeah, you know, but I mean, I'm saying we linked up, we chopped it up, and I mean, I probably see you twice a year ever since then. You know what I'm saying? Be it in Louisiana, be it in, I think the last couple of times I caught you was in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Yep, at 2x2, whatever. So we always, you know, I blessed to kind of level up a little bit so I can kind of, you know, move in the same circles. We know a lot of the same artists and things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah. So look, I got some questions here, man. We're gonna chop it up. So every single time when I listen to like people interview the legends of hip hop, like, you know what I'm saying, your Nas, your Jay-Z's, whatever, or like even your Rakims, they always ask, what was it like growing up in New York and, you know, in the birthplace of hip hop? So for you, me, you and that, so they always talk about, yo, I heard the Park Jams and I saw Kool Herc, right? So you're from the Bronx, but we're closer to the same age. So you probably didn't see the Park Jams like that. So for you in particular, like growing up in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? You know, coming into age in the late 90s, early 2000s, what was it like for you? You know what I'm saying? And what were your earliest influences as it pertains to hip
hop? Growing up in hip hop in the late 90s, the Bloods and the Crips were heavy in New York City at the time. There was a lot of street corner battling. Labels, all of the labels were in either New York or LA at the time. So they would pack up their tour buses, wrap them up with, you know, whoever was on, you know, the label at the time, and they would drive to different schools, and, you know, they would give out promotional material because they knew that the kids were what was going to drive hip hop. So at that time, we were able to put posters up in the city and stickers. I was interning a lot of street corner battling. A lot of the mixtape scene was heavy. The Tunnel was heavy. Speed was a big club, you know, that everybody used to perform at. Cheetahs was another big club that everybody used to perform at and go to. SOBs was always a staple in the community. The New Eurekan Poet, you know, Lounge, where a lot of MCs came up. So that was my era as a teenager, young adult, before, you know, I came into my own as Mickey Factz. And who I was inspired by, I was inspired by Wu-Tang, I was inspired by Biggie, Nas, Bone Thugs, all of those guys in that 90s era leading into the early 2000s.
So I didn't even think, like, because I've heard several Tunnel stories, but like, I'm just thinking like maybe you probably caught the last wave of the Tunnel. You got like a wild Tunnel story you can tell real quick before you move on? Or is any type of Tunnel, like, what was it like?
I've never been to the Tunnel.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay, cool.
I wanted to go, but I was too young. I didn't know anybody that could get me in. I've heard a lot of crazy stories, man.
Right. Because, you know, I've heard, you know, I heard like Heather Hunter talk about when she worked at the Tunnel that the security had to beat up LL Cool J for trying to. But like, this is like late early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was just wondering like what a story would sound like for somebody our age. But I get it. Like, it was probably shut down by the time, you know what I'm saying, you got to 18. Cool. So all right. So look, I'm a history major, so I like to do deep dives. You know, I'm a nerd. You know what I'm saying? So I saw you graduated from Adlai Stevenson High. Am I saying that right?
Yep. Adlai Stevenson High School.
Adlai Stevenson High School, and this is the same place where the legendary, infamous, you know what I'm saying, leader of the Zulu Nation, Africa Bambaataa, graduated from. I saw where they said that Stevenson High is known for like having a lot of like talented people, like musically talented people and artists. So I was wondering, like, besides yourself and like Bambaataa, was there anybody else that's famous from the high school or any other MCs that you might have went to school with that kind of did some things?
Dragon.
Okay.
Dragon. He he graduated the year that I was a sophomore. That was like 9/7. So he I was in ciphers with him, but he went right to Rough Riders right after that. So it was like
Gotcha.
from school straight to Rough Riders.
Gotcha.
Me and Remy Ma, we was in the same, grade.
Okay.
So that was another person who I constantly saw every day, and we all knew that she was gonna go far and go big places. I remember when she met Pun. It was just crazy. It was a big deal for us back then. Those are the only two that I know of from the school. There might be others, but that people may know of. Those are the main us. We are the main four from Stevenson. Bambaataa,
Gotcha.
myself, and Remy and Dragon, from what I know.
That's what's up. That's dope, man. That's dope. That's dope. After high school, you went to New York University Law. Before you decided to drop out and do music. What was a specific instance when you was like, you know what, Johnny Crockett is cool, but I'm trying to be Biggie? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that point in your life like?
I was working at a law firm at the time as well.
Okay.
And I was living at home with my mom. I had just put out In Search of the Nerd in 2006, and my A&R and my A&R said to me, yo, if you want to take this seriously, you got to quit your job. So I told my mom that, and she was like, you can only live here if you're working or you're going to school. So I enrolled into school to stay living at my mom's house, and then I dropped out 3 months later because I realized that it just wasn't for me.
So you say A&R, were you already signed, or who's you running with?
It was GFC New York. That was that was the company that I helped start. We are a marketing firm, but we also dealt with music as well. So my A&R at the time, Steve O, he wanted to, he's the reason why I did a lot of the music that I did from 2006 to 2011, 2012 actually. So for 6 years, he was everything that people loved for me from those 6 years. He was the mastermind behind all of it, everything. From In Search of the NERD, the Flashback, Heaven's Fallout, The Leak, Mickey Mouse, I'm Better Than You. All of that was from the brainchild of Steve O.
So this is Steve O. This GFC, what Crit ran with y'all?
Yep.
Currency.
Yep.
Smoke Dizza. Okay. Okay. Bet. I remember that era. Which kind of brings me to the inevitable question. Bam. All right. Those good old XXL days, man. You on the cover, Currency, Kid Cudi, Ace Hood, Wale, B.O.B., Charles Hamilton, Asher Roth, Blue, Corey Guns. You know what I'm saying? I remember these days. I remember these days because this is when the blogs is really popping, and they called y'all hipster rap. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about the hipster rap title? How you feel about that? Did y'all like that? How y'all feel about that?
We should have ran with it, man. At the time we wanted to be accepted by the hip hop legends, but we should have ran with hipster rap. We should have ran with it, man. I don't know why we were against it so much, but we should have created that we should have stayed with that name and ran with it and been like, yeah, I'm a hipster rapper and this is what we do. And we would probably still be around, like at the forefront of hip hop. Most of us are still around doing what we do. But if we would have kept that moniker, we would be as respected as the weed rappers right now.
Because it's strange. It's weird because y'all wasn't conscious, y'all wasn't underground, but at the same time, y'all wasn't like the club stuff, and y'all wasn't like the super street stuff. And so it's kind of like a lot of people say that like hipster rap kind of took, hipster rap was the new, so you had your Back to Africa rap, then you had your alternative rap, then you got the conscious rap. A lot of people say that the hipster rap or the breath of fresh air rap kind of took the place for like conscious rap for that particular era. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't, you know, it was probably closer to alternative rap than anything, you know, if we go back history. But like it was, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot, you know, it wasn't necessarily like overtly political or super black, but it was very introspective. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, y'all had the hottest street tees on and the hottest, you know what I'm saying, tennis shoes on and the hottest snapbacks. Y'all was fashion forward, so it had like a lot of the mainstream appeal. Now you still see people dressing like that now and kind of carrying themselves like that now, whatever. So I always thought that hipster rap was like a good title, but at the same time, I'm a conscious artist, and a lot of conscious artists don't like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people kind of run away from those type of labels or whatever. So I was always wondering like how y'all felt about it. So I guess my question is, during this era, you was putting out buku mixtapes, right? Putting out buku. Oh yeah, I've been out for 18 years, brother. You know what I'm saying? You put out buku mixtapes. And this is when blogs is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like most of your recognition, how you got to Double XL. Of course, you was doing your work, but like you, Kids in the Hall, Cool Kids. You know what I'm saying? You guys was, you know, really heavy on the blogs. So my question to you is, you know, from 2009, 2010, 2011 to 10 years later in 2021, how different is the game and the way you maneuver and put music out, being that you was really a beneficiary of the quote unquote blog hipster era until 2021?
Man, I remember if I put out a project, it would be on every blog imaginable in seconds. And everybody would hear it. Everybody would get my music and it would be there. And then the blogs kind of died in like 2012, 2013, because everybody started moving to SoundCloud. Everybody started moving to, you know, streaming sites. When that happened, there was a power shift. The labels weren't in control for about 5-6 years. They control radio, obviously, but to break an artist, you had to break them on the internet. There was no way to do it other than the internet. And at the end of the day, like it was easier for us, man. Without a budget, all of us popped without a budget. Like I didn't have like Blue never had a big budget at that time. I didn't have a budget. Corey, he lucked up and was on a milli. You know, Cuddy, I don't think he was signed to Good Music yet, but he had Day and Night and he put out that tape with Plain Pat. He didn't have a budget. Currency was doing everything just off the arm. Like he was a machine. Wale had a budget because he was signed. So everybody that was on the front cover had a budget. But everybody, the other 6 of us, pardon me, we were just doing it. We were lucky, man. We got lucky in that era. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for that era, you know, because without that era, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am now. But B.O.B., Asher, Wale, Asa, they, you know, and Charles, they had budgets. The other 5, we didn't have label deals. We just worked.
It's funny because like, and we'll talk about this later, but like being a Southerner, like we never necessarily had access to these type of things, right? Like it wasn't no buildings where we lived at. So we had to get it out the mud. And so we learned how to do all this stuff without access to these publications in our cities, right?
Right.
But on the flip side, there's people here who are just now kind of peeking their head up to see, you know what I'm saying, what else is going on in the game, and just not really try to get on the blogs. So I'm like, bro, this stuff is dead. Like, I don't even, like a man, bro, I don't even send my stuff out to blogs like that. And I'm not talking about. Like, my man Justin Ivy was a hip hop DX, you know what I'm saying, until he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, other than that, bro, like, I don't even, like, look to it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I believe in keeping my content. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you know this. You might be on the front page and are not right for literally 20 minutes. And then they post everybody else. You don't really see your name anymore or what have you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How have you adjusted? You know what I'm saying? You know, you came in the game this particular way. have you adjusted in like modern times?
I have to give a lot of my credit to Alfred. Alfred really he schooled me on what I should be doing. And for a very long time, I was anti everything. I just wanted to feed my fans directly. I didn't want to go to streaming sites. I didn't want to do nothing. Alfred was like, yo, you need to put your content on all the DSPs. You need to just constantly, feed the YouTube fans, feed these people, feed those people, go on tour. And before that, like I was stuck in a label system, because you got to remember, like I went from an indie system, then I went to a label system, and then it was like, oh man, I'm going backwards. Now I have to go to the indie system. And I didn't want to do that because, it would look, in my mind at that time, it looked like I was a failure. So it was like, man, I gotta remove this ego that I have to sustain a living and a quality of life. And it was tough, man. It was tough. But, Alfred helped me break that barrier. I have to give him a lot of the credit for that, because without him, being a champion for me in that mindset, I would have still been very nonchalant, very headstrong, very adamant on doing it my way and not conforming to what everyone else was doing. So I got to give him kudos for that.
Hey, that was actually a question on my list, but you answered it. That's real. So that was my best friend. He was the first person I interviewed for this podcast. That's like my brother. So he talks about you a lot. You know what I'm saying? And like I've seen the give and take that you guys have in your relationship, right? Like you can tell him about the industry stuff, and like you can help him. I've seen you like guide him through, every new barrier, every new plateau and level he gets through, because you've done a lot of it. And I've seen him like teach you how to do this indie shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've watched it, and I've seen it being, I've watched it become like a dope relationship. But then, add Mega Ran in there. You know what I'm saying? Who is, I would say, next to Tech Nine, probably one of the top independent rappers in the country. You know what I'm saying? And Tech got he got a corporation. Like
he got a corporation. Yeah.
Rand just got him and the other white dude that he see once or twice a year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that nigga works hard as a motherfucker, boy. So yeah. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to the fam, man. Matter of fact, the last time I saw you was with those two guys.
With them.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's do this, man. So like I told you, we and I said I want to talk about this earlier. I said that we met in 2014, and you said there was a lot going on in your career at the time. So I'd been hearing about you forever. I heard the freestyles, I heard the mixtapes, but and I saw you live. But the song that really punched me in the chest as a grown-ass man was 414. So I want to play that record real quick for the people that are watching, and then we will talk about that.
All right, yeah. Let's do that.
If you want to feel rich, just count the things you have that money can't buy. Smicky. This is my second time talking on this beat, so it got two titles like LeBron with the Heat. I belong to the songs I record. Shit is deep as the waters in the pond or a creek. I was born from the league. Every week I put my thoughts on the streets of the internet concrete. Walk with your feet as I take you on the voyage, from the safety of the cloisters to the places down on Voyagers where they daily eating oysters. Rap is full of snakes and I'm playing in the poison. There's days I be saying that I hated that I joined in. Bunch of sensitive niggas, they get offended when I mention that I'm better than niggas. I'm a competitor, nigga. How could I sit around and listen to these lyrics now? Shit I said a couple years ago, I'm hearing now. Let me simmer down, digress, and tell you about my progress. 3 sets of managers, 5 guys, 1 girl. Shit was such a process, hard for me to digest. Did a video with Marcel, label had a conference. Conflicts, sad to see Jive had to die next. Got moved to RCA and had to fire my reps. Hire LA Reid, son, and still couldn't drop next. Did Mickey Mouse, it was a classic ass concept. concept complex. Plus it got praised by Complex. #1 prospect, Swiss tweeted the project. Fiasco called it a masterpiece full of art text. Felt like Kevin Hart and Smart Tech, yelling at the label for their wildness. That's the day that I left. Third day before my birthday, it was July 10th. Underground Railroad, left with my masters, no album on the shelf though. 2 mixtapes in 2 weeks, hell yeah, bro. These other niggas moving snail slow. Let's go to the next year though. 2013, it's only nightmares in Mickey's first dream. I sense envy. When did the city turn green? I painted the town red from an indigo scene. I inspire folks, just like when Biggie heard Cream. So for y'all to say I hate it, I feel the worst things. That's like asking Cyclops what he really heard, Gene. I probably do this for life like Eddie Murphy, and that's raw. I signed a deal in July and that went kaput. I rap, but it feels like I'm trapped in the book. My words are latched with a hook. I'm sick of this, it's hard for me to heal like the back of a foot. I had a track with Yellow Wolf, but that wasn't pushed. Then I'm added to a tour with my big brother Lou. I was happy to the core. It was only 3 shows, wait, matter of fact 4. One got canceled from a storm that was Niagara Falls. Lost money from what I had in store, so Fiasco got a call, let him know the situation, and he said that'll add a couple more. Pardon me, he said that I could travel to a mall. That's family for sure. I had sold out crowds. I was practicing my art, spray painted on the canvas in New York, and it sold for 300 like I had to go to war. Yo, that was my reward, but what about my feelings? I made money on the tour, so where the hell are digits? I called one manager and told her I was quitting, and I'm not bullshitting. I said good riddance. I'm tired of the critics, I'm tired of the business, I'm tired of undersold shows, I'm tired of the gimmicks. I went on Instagram and I was tired of the pictures. I'm tired of writing lyrics when lyrics aren't lyrics to the spirits that are here. See, I'm tired of being gifted. Texts ain't get replied to. I guess my friends thought I was suicidal. I just needed space. I was prideful. Thought about working at a job too. Then I thought that's remedial for my IQ. Rather look at life with my own bird's eye view. Then I was mindful. I gotta get straightened out. If I'm gonna keep rapping, then I gotta make it count. I had 90,000 saved, but in 2014 I had 414 in the bank account. I had 414 in my bank account. I had 414 in my bank account. Now you see why I ain't wanna rap with an artist by colors when it ain't nothing to paint about. So I got on my knees, this what I pray about. Lord, guide my dreams and help me make it out. Paying rent in my wallet, negative account, so I'm scared to deposit. Running around town when I really should be jogging and preserving all my energy. Instead, I be wildin'. I said this on the first rendition of the song, but since you won't hear it, then I figured I should drop it. The song should be fading right now if you got it, but I'ma keep rapping.
Wow. Man. Bro, it never, like, I feel it every time I hear it, man. I feel it every time I hear it. So I guess, I'm looking at your reaction, you know what I'm saying? Now that we're like 7 years removed, you know what I'm saying, from when this video came out. Like how just watching this and like revisiting that moment, how does it make you feel now that you kind of got past this hump?
Well, I performed this song a lot, and watching the video brought me back to, when we shot the video and even how it got done. People got to remember, this is one of my better shot videos, and I did an Indiegogo for this video, and the Indiegogo paid for this video. It paid for this video and 2 other videos from this project, and I remember writing this song. And with tears not coming down my eye, but welling up. And I remember recording it with tears welling up, but not coming down my eyes. I remember reciting this and shooting this video with tears not coming down. But when I saw this video, I literally cried. That was the time when it was like, finally, like this is completed. I purged it out of me, right? And even when I performed this in Chicago, and I was on tour with Alfred, and I burst into tears reciting this record, like complete tears, like bawling. I couldn't even get the lyrics out. And it was a tough time, basically this is, at this time, this is 2014. So this this song at that time was my biography. It was literally my biography. Like when you listen to it, you're like, oh snap, this is his biography from 2000, I guess 11 to like 2014. That was like my bio, and it hit hard, man. This is one of the best records I've ever recorded and written.
If I'm not mistaken, around this time, like I said, like as much as Alfred's your little brother, he still really admires you. And so like he talks about you a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, at this time, you talk about quitting rap and becoming a chef or some shit like that.
Yeah, before
like,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, before this, before 24, before this project was 740 Park Avenue. This was the song that it was on. And before that, I was thinking of being a chef. I was looking into schools I was looking into culinary arts, man. And I just didn't have the money to go to school. I was literally poor. Like I was living with my ex at the time. And, you know, I was getting money here and there. Like it wasn't a lot of money. I was probably making about, if I'm being honest, I was probably making about $600-700 a month. You know, and she was holding it down. And then, you know, Alfred, I remember me and Alfred, we had these conversations, and then that changed everything. Like I was able to get a sense of how to live off of my music. And I went to the extreme.
We used to joke. I'd be like, hey, look, like I said, I was around this time. We don't really necessarily work with him anymore, but shout out to DJ Strategy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out DJ Strategy. I remember like you used to come to New Orleans and stay for weeks at his crib. And I remember the birthday party you had, you know what I'm saying? So I used to always joke. I'm just like, man. And so like I don't have it pulled up, but when I hear you do the song Good Morning New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? Like I could tell that like, and I heard you mentioned that on this record too, something about, you know, the land of oysters, like, you know, it was a huge part for like kind of reboosting your energy with your career. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, as a Southerner, like I think it's cool that you came down south and learned how to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because on the flip side of it, it's just like, this is what I was gonna ask you. So like down here, we become our own labels until somebody gives us some money. If nobody ever gives us some money, we keep getting our money till we stop rapping, right? And so like getting a deal is like almost like the last thing on our mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember asking people like, is it harder to get a deal or to move as an independent artist? And nobody couldn't really answer that question. Because I used to be like, okay, well, if it's easier to get a deal, why don't you have a deal, right? So, but and these are people, you know what I'm saying, in the South to where we don't have the buildings. So like you growing up in New York, you know what I'm saying, the interning and having like all this culture around you. And you know, I heard you say Jive, Sony, you know, I remember your situation with Battery Records, and you know what I'm saying, like you've been signed to a couple different labels. So like, you know, what was the process? And like this is, I consider myself like music industry astute, but this is just an experience that people like Alfred and myself haven't had because ain't no builders down here, right? We do everything independent. So like, what is the process of like trying to get a deal when there are builders in your backyard?
Wow, this is an amazing question. This is an amazing question. I'm so grateful that you asked this question. So for me, that was the goal. That was the end goal, man. That was Thanos getting all the gems. You have to get a record deal. Like that was just a New York prerequisite. And I admire Southern artists for staying independent because that's the way to go. But in our mind, we had to get the record deal to get the money so we could live. Because we just needed money to live, to literally eat and pay rent and pay mortgages. So from 2008 till about 2010, I had a meeting with every record label in the country. A lot of them were reaching out to us. So it was a little different than us reaching out to them. Like Lenny S from Def Jam, he reached out. Jeff Sledge was at Jive Records at the time, and he reached out. He was a part of my process for 4 years before he signed me. Sycamore over at Atlantic with Mike Karen, you know, we met with him, and you know, just going into the building, sitting down, asking us what we want, how much money we need. Also, you know, playing music for them, keeping them abreast with what's going on, you know, that process is a strenuous process because, you know, you got to have leverage. If you don't have leverage, you will get eaten up alive in them labels, especially young disenfranchised Black male and females. You know, like a lot of us don't have the common legal jargon to, you know, go back and forth with a titan such as a record label. I was lucky enough to wait before I got my deal. So I waited for a while. I waited 2 years before I signed because I was building leverage. I was touring. I had two Honda commercials. I had a clothing brand deal with Puma at the time.
The XXL, like that definitely was
double
super
XL
leverage.
cover. I was
Right.
I was in every magazine. I was on every blog. I was everywhere. There was nothing that I was on the radio. I was getting paid on the radio. There was nothing that, you know, they could, you know, entice us with at the time because we were doing everything. I was touring.
And he was saying how like, and you did this with little to no budget because the blogs was your platform. So that, yeah, you was making some pretty decent money without having a crazy overhead at this point. So they didn't necessarily you just didn't need it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Gotcha.
So, you know, but you know, the record deal stuff, you know, that was, I'm lucky enough to say I had one. I had three actually, you know, and I'm privileged, you know, and I'm grateful to hip hop to allow me to have gotten those experiences, because a lot of people, you know, haven't experienced that. But you know, if I could do it all over, I would have probably signed to an independent record label with a pretty, you know, okay budget and let them push me to the moon. You know, that's what I would have done.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad you said that, man, because like I said, I like to have the conversation for the listeners, right? Like, I'm trying to think, like, out of all my people who I'm cool with, you know what I'm saying, I could have a conversation with, like, you and Silas are the only people who I know have signed to a major. And everybody else, we doing, you know, myself, I average 30 states a year with no deal. You know what I'm saying? So I have no idea what that other side looks like. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, even as long as I've been in the game, like, I haven't needed any of that. Of course, I haven't, you know, had the double XL and Honda commercials, whatever, but I look at little brother Alfred with all he's been able to do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you know, we just don't really necessarily have those experiences. So speaking of majors, man, several major artists, legends, when they need them bars, they tap you for your pen. You know what I'm saying? You are a noted ghostwriter and a writer. So I know you can't say who you ghostwrite for, but are there any artists that you've written for that you can say?
Oh yeah, I've written for Diddy. In 2015, I was helping him write in his Money Making Mitch album that never came out. So I was doing that for like a week. You know, I was out there with 88 Keys and Sean C and LV and Mario Winans. So you know, I was writing for Diddy for a while. Iggy Azalea was another artist that I was writing for around 2013. Was putting some stuff together really early on in her career, late 2012, early 2013. I was working with First from FKI, you know, with the production and some of the written stuff on her mixtapes. Yeah, those are the two that I can mention. I can't really.
I have some. I ain't gonna get you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But you know, me being a nerd, you know what I'm saying? I've kind of, you know, I've kind of deduced a couple different things, but I ain't gonna say that to get you in trouble.
When the camera come off, you know, let's
100%.
You said he deduced it.
I deduced it, bro. It's funny because so when Sky Zoo came to New Orleans in November 2019, we did the show, and I was, you know, it's a website called theantidote.com that one of my best friends owns he owns the company, and so they interviewed Sky Zoo, and my guy, it was a pretty decent interview, but like you could tell he didn't know much about Sky Zoo, and like you could really tell that he's never really been around New Yorkers before, and so like he flat out asked Sky Zoo who he ghost wrote for. And the look this guy gave him was just like, yo, dude, like, I was like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, that was interesting. So I wouldn't do you that. I know how that goes. I wouldn't do you that. So how does it feel, man? Like, so okay, here's an off the grid question, but it's kind of related. Like, okay, so you are independent and you are like a super duper lyrical phenomenon that like the quote unquote heads love. At this point in your career, do you consider yourself underground?
Yeah, I consider myself underground.
Was it a fight to accept that?
Yeah. I mean, but I was always underground. Like I was always underground.
But you was underground. But like I said, you had Honda commercials. You had this, you know, and so because look, full disclosure, me and Alfred talked, right? I should have had him on the damn interview for all this, right? But I was just like, and I've kind of seen it more, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, in my personal opinion, outside looking in, I felt like you was fighting against that. Because like you said that like you don't want to seem like a failure because you had these things. And it's just like, man, look, if I can get $500 a show, right? And like really run this underground shit with little to no cachet compared to yours, I was like, Mickey can get $1,200 a show. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying? And I felt like, I like Alfred, man, your boy independent, but he got to get that underground stamp or whatever. But so I you know, that's just outside looking in the conversations that we had amongst ourselves, whatever. Because you know, like I'm big bro on the other shit. So and that's how we run it or whatever. So I was wondering, like, I'm just curious, like, had you ever like really embraced that? You know what I'm saying? It even still like you know, I remember watching. I think it was the it was the Lux and Calico battle. Are you in the balcony sitting between Diddy and Buster?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I guess so. Here's my other question here: do you ever feel a way that these majors could come for your pen, but they ain't necessarily treat you right? Do you ever have like any tension, you know, when it comes to that?
Earlier on in my life, yes. Now, no. I think when you get older, the maturity steps in and you realize that it's all about the bag and it's really not about the fame and it's not about being in the bright lights. And, you know, when I was younger, I wanted to compete with my contemporaries. You know, I felt like I was being lapped by B.O.B. and Cuddy and Wale, and you know, I compared myself to them a lot because we were on the cover, and then I had to realize that, you know, everybody's journey is different, and I can't compare myself to these great men. You know, I have to do it my way, and if I don't do it my way, then it'll never get done. So you know, I don't feel a way anymore. I used to, you know, but you know, when I say used to, I mean years and years ago. Now I don't care. I have I'm being hired to do a job, and I'm just privileged and honored that they would consider me for those jobs, you know?
Right. World-class lyricists, y'all. And let like look. Well, speaking of Alfred, I wish I had the damn video you crossing his ass over. That would make it, that would be the best. I'm slipping. I should have that. I should have that. I should have that on deck or whatever.
Oh man.
And I'm probably breaking bro code, but like Alfred explained A- to me like a while before it came out, right? Before you even announced it on Twitter. And I'm just like, and honestly, I didn't really understand what he was saying. I knew it was gonna be dope. I knew how you do, but like even me, my nigga mind couldn't fathom like what you were trying to do, right? So, and I've tried to explain it to other people. And they didn't get it until they heard it. So for the people that are watching, I'm gonna pull up A-, man. This is like, and honestly, it makes me mad, bro. Cause like I'm giving you your flowers now, bro, because this is 2035 right here. You're not even rapping in this decade, you know, what you're doing with this artistically. and I love over niggas' heads rap. So yeah, this is A-, produced by PA Dre. Y'all, well, I'm gonna let you explain it because whatever. I'm gonna let you explain it after we listen to it. But this is A-.
the beginning. When you get perfect letter metrics off, you're winning. The first vowel in English you kicking. It's not from the Greek, so the speech isn't shifted. Reminds me of myself, well-rounded with the diction. 5 different sounds, 5 different types of living. MC, investor, mister to my missus. Provider for my son, mentor with the lyrics. The plus sign is vivid. When you get it, then you finish. Phonetic wise, reminiscent of your sniffing. Use your mouth just like the Semitic, this is wicked. Contour of the ox is how it is envisioned. Origin comes from the hieroglyphic scripting. Soul of the brown skin culture. View how the letter got shifted by the vultures. Burned through the views of society with sulfur till it ended up in English. Egypt deserves sculptures. I'm getting gnosis just thinking about it sensibly. People's worth get judged by it. Look to celebrities. B-list, C-list. Presently the dependency of being as top-notch entities viewed credibly. Side by side with the other letters. Long symbol like me, never under pressure. Wonder if it'll morph like the remix. Seldom broken. If it did, then it's prefixed. It won't work in front of other vowels. Letter N needs to be with it or throw the towel. Congruent to the introverts who seem foul. Birds flock together. If you don't question who, I will. I know you've seen it before, B. Get it? Seen it before, B. But B is before C. I'm the first to do this. Tell people employ me. So just like the letter, don't put people before me. Life begins when I utter this theme. It's like sex in the penthouse, you let it receive. If you both resemble inclines, rushing to breed. Lines meet up top, then only one come in between. On IG, use the symbol to find me. Then recite these lyrics precisely. End off with 1 dime piece so spicy. Shout to T.I., her cup size need to be tiny. Ay, 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 ay.
All right, so for the people who didn't catch it, the man rapped a whole song about the letter A without using any words with the letter A in it. So this is okay. So there's so much I want to ask you about this. All right. So here's a question I asked Alfred. He didn't know because he's super young. When I was working at McDonald's, no, for real, like he's just young. He's just like after the cover that you were on, Alfred didn't really progress, and so he don't really listen to shit else besides some double XL cover. I make fun of him about this all the time. When I was in high school, I was working at McDonald's, and there was a little dirty white dude who was a Crip or whatever, you know, but he was really with it. And we was back here talking about our favorite rappers and blah, blah, blah. I don't know where he was from. He wasn't from my hometown. He was working there. And he said Corrupt. And we was just like, what about Snoop? What about Cube? Like, nah, Corrupt. I said, why? And he played a song about Corrupt where Corrupt didn't rap with any verbs. The whole song without verbs. I cannot. And so this is before YouTube. This is before whatever. You know, this is still chat rooms and stuff, right? And so I went into it was all hip hop, wordofsouth.com, and I made a post about it. And somebody posted the link, the Z-Share link to the song, or what have you. And I had to go do a deep dive on original ohhla.com, you know, original hip hop lyrics. And we showing our age here, right? And I had to like really break it down. When I came back to work, we literally had like, you know what I'm saying, goddamn dictionaries and thesauruses and whatever. And we looking to see if I can't remember the name of the song, bro. And I wish I could find it. If I do ever find it, I'm gonna send it to you. But he did a whole song without verbs, right? And so like, amazing, you know, Corrupt don't get the props as an MC, you know what I'm saying?
It really doesn't.
What is your writing process? Okay, so you got, you have like, you can make a bop, you can make a song, right? But you're 3 different types of writers, right? You can make a song, you can do a 10-minute goddamn freestyle, and you battle. And the battle, I love watching how mad the battle dudes get at you. You know what I'm saying? But they respect you at the same time. You and Verb, they respect you at the same time, but they really get mad. And you need to apologize for what you did today. Like, that wasn't even fair. You tend them real easy. So like when you get down to write, like, what is your writing process? What is your writing process for all 3 types of mediums?
So when I write a song, I typically live with the beat for about 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days, and I let it bleed into my subconscious. I let the music bleed in and become one with me because, like Pun said, music is marriage and song. There's a marriage when it comes to music. It's lyrics and it's beats. So in order for it to have that synergy, you got to live with it. So I typically live with my music for like a couple of days before I start writing it, because then I know exactly what I want to say. I just compile all of these thoughts together and I just, go. So that's what
Do you write pen and pad? Do you write in your phone? Do you write in your head? How you do it?
Oh yeah. I write in my phone. Just for some clarity purposes. Let's pull this up. Let's see what's going on in my phone. So currently I have 1,600 raps in my phone. 1,600.
Jesus Christ. Have you ever used Tully, the Tully app?
No, I haven't used that yet.
It's an app. It's actually it got sold to somebody else, but it was created by Jordan Lucas. And it's pretty cool. It got some bugs in it, but like basically it's for, so you ain't gotta write in your notes and just switch over to your media player, blah, blah, blah. It's a place where you can have beats, you can have masters, you can have projects you're working on, and like it's actually stores like the verse you're working on with the beat. You can all play it from one place. When you get a chance, I use it sometimes, but I like the earlier version, but whatever. But like for people who write in their phone, I always kind of tell them about Tully. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm sorry. So that's the song. So when you're writing a 10-minute verse for Flex or any of these, see, the thing about you, bro, it was hard to like narrow down what I wanted to talk about because you put out so much digital art and culture. I hate calling it the content, but like you put out so much art and culture into the world. So like you Google Mickey Factz, you're going to see a million freestyle. You're going to see a million videos. You're going to find a million trillers, right? And so I had to really kind of narrow down. Like I wanted to play the Funk Flex freestyle for 10 minutes, but we'd be here forever. You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of those, like from the LA Leakers to the whatever. So when you're preparing for something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your process?
Same process, but this time I record the song and I play it back over and over and over and over so I can memorize it. So when I go up to these places, I could get it done in one take. I'm currently doing something like that right now for my next project. Not only am I writing, an album, but I'm also writing these freestyles for these different podcasts and different radio stations to go up to. So this is a little bit more strenuous to get done, but I typically just kind of sit with the beat again and I just let it all build up, and then I write until it's time to stop writing. From now on, I'm trying to just, when I went up to Flex, that was 10 minutes. Well, it was about 9 minutes. So that was about 200 bars. Sway was about 100 bars. So from now on, I'm probably going to, 60 to 80 is enough, I think, to get my point across from here on out. So I think that's how I'm doing it, and that's how I'm giving it up from now on.
You definitely did the bar work. You ain't got to do about 10-minute things, but you've earned that. If you want, look, you've earned that. People talk about Black Thought and they talk about circular breathing. Are there any type of breathing techniques that you go to be able to rap, 10 minutes straight? You know what I'm saying? Without coughing, without wheezing, without missing it. Is there like any cardio exercises? Are there like any type of breathing exercises that you do to make sure that you're able to get through it, to prepare yourself?
There was only one breathing exercise that I was doing. I was jumping rope while reciting Dream Shatterer by Pun.
What?
If you could.
What? That's suicide, man. What are you doing? Like, what are you...
Yeah, I shatter dreams like Jordan, assault and batter your team, your squadron, every bar from rap like Adam and Eve from the garter. I'm carving my initials in your forehead, so every night before bed, you see the BP shine off the forehead. Reverse that, I curse that. The first whack nigga with the worst rap, cause he ain't worth jack. Hit him with 1,000 pounds of pressure, and I'm doing this while jumping rope, and that's the reason why I'm able to kind of go into these radio stations and do what I do, because that breathing pattern is here, and it's it's here. Along with, making sure, I do it over and over and over again over very high BPMs. And I put pauses in specific places so I can gather my breath, one, and remove all saliva, from, excess saliva, pause. So I can, get to the next bars, you know what I mean?
I was waiting for the pause too. I was gonna hit you with it if you didn't pause. So what about like vocal care, right? Because like as far as like not losing your voice, like is there a specific thing that you do for that as well when you know you're preparing for something like that?
Just tea. I mean, now, my wife and I, we drink tea every day now. I think tea is very therapeutic for the body. We flush out all toxins with it, and it's the first thing I drink when I wake up in the morning. I'm going to probably start doing that before I go to these radio stations even more, as well as when I go into the studio, as well as performing. You gotta, relax your voice, because your voice is a muscle. So I try to use my voice as well as possible, in that facet. But that's what I do really, is just tea, gargling with salt water as well.
I've told the story a couple of different times, man, but you see me perform. I'm very aggressive. My shit is loud. I'm rah like a Dungeons Dragon. And so I was summer 2000, was it September 2019? I did a festival in Omaha, Nebraska, and then the next day I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. And no, Lincoln and then Omaha. And Omaha was crazy. Like it was nuts. And so I had another show, and then at the end of that, a show in Kansas City got tacked on. I wasn't originally on the bill. My guy put me on there at the last minute. And, I had been doing all this rapping, and, my partners and stuff from all over the country, and my voice is done. And I'm drinking as much tea as I possibly could. But by this time, my voice was shot. And so I'm in Kansas City. I get up there. I'm like, hey, yo. Hold up. I sip that water. I got a 45-minute set, man. I sip the water. Hey, yo. Thank you, good night. You know what I'm saying? And so like so this is before like my first like legit tour, like at first when you do a weekend, you call that shit a tour. You know what I'm saying? But like, when my album dropped, I did like I want to say it's like a 12-city tour in like 14 days, all by myself or whatever. And like, I'm like, damn, I didn't even make it through 4 shows before I lost my voice. And like, I'm super duper paranoid, like, what am I gonna do? Because you know I'm the leader of the movement, so there will be no over vocals rap. Like I would literally cut my set before I rap over vocals. And so man, I called everybody. So I asked Locksmith. Locksmith said just meditate, right? You know what I'm saying? I called Wordsworth. Wordsworth gave me probably the best advice. He said rest. He was like, shut the fuck up, don't talk too much. You know what I'm saying? He was like, and he was like, just rest, don't say anything. It was, I think the partner C. Shreve, and maybe Cesar Comanche from North Carolina, telling me like type of things to drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it had to do with it, like, room temperature water, go to the bar, ask for the warm water. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was getting tea, you know what I'm saying? And like the stretches where I couldn't find a Starbucks or whatever, or any type of coffee shop, it was literally going to the gas station and getting the black tea and putting some honey and cough drops in it. And just letting it melt and letting the cough drop be the medicine. And just really, just being quiet and relaxing. And I was able to make it through the whole tour. By the time you can tell my vocal cords is kind of getting low, it was kind of getting a little rusty, but it added the flair to it. So it still had flavor to it. But, vocal cord care is something that a lot of people aren't taught, especially for people who don't really perform that often. So if you perform once or twice a month, you're not really caring about your voice, and you just kind of really going from you growling and you screaming and you yelling or whatever. But like once you're really on that road and you really rapping, you really rhyming or whatever, you really rocking the crowd, especially if you're an MC. Like, if you're rapping on vocals, people don't really care about it anyways. But like if you really rhyming and like you're not jumping up around and doing backflips, but your voice is your muscle and your instrument, you definitely gotta take care of your voice. Last question as it pertains to this. How you prepare for battles, man? I mean, you're from the Bronx. You said you grew up battling. It's funny, real quick. I remember watching a video. You said you went to high school with Dragon, and Dragon was in Miami, and he was battling this Cuban cat where he had a Tim Hardaway jersey on and braids, a white Cuban cat, and he was smashing Dragon. It wasn't even close, and like he was buzzing Drag ass so hard that Drag had to spit his verse from down bottom, and like the whole crowd kind of turned on him, like, man, that's whack. You spitting a hit record because you can't beat this dude in the battle. And that person was Pitbull, who so Pitbull was an MC. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like you could probably find it on YouTube. It wasn't close. Like he really smashed Drag or whatever.
Let me look for this on YouTube.
Yeah. It's there. Like Pitbull, he got braids, he got a Miami Heat jersey on, and like it wasn't close. It wasn't close at all. So preparing for a battle. You came up battling in New York City, the Bronx, going to high school, you know what I'm saying, spitters. I watch your commentary on battles, you know what I'm saying? I see you at the big battles. I see you at the small battles. Tell me about like, just kind of tell me your foray into like battling in the new era, in the smack era, in the URL era, like in your position in it, like how you got there and your position in it.
You know, it was just something, I think, you know, as far as my legacy goes, you know, I wanted to add that to my legacy. You know, having all of these crazy freestyles, having all of these crazy projects, having these dope albums, being able to, you know, travel the world as an independent, you know, doing all of these off the wall things and adding battling was a part of the legacy that I wanted to incorporate in my brand. So when people go back, they'll be like, yo, he did it all. Like he literally did it all. And preparing for that is a little bit different. Like you have to, but now apparently you have to write as quickly as possible because they're booking guys quicker. But when I had about 6 weeks for each guy I took, and I would get the battle done. I would get it done writing wise in like, you know, a week. You know, it would take me a day to write each round and then, you know, do some editing along the way. And then it would, the hardest part is memorizing. So like I would have to memorize at least 360 bar rhymes with no beat, which is tougher. And it would just have to be repetition. So I would, you know, record myself and then listen back to it constantly. And then I would have to perform it in the crib, you know, and it's just an everyday thing. I'm reciting this every day, all day. And that can be a little stressful because you don't want, well, at least for me, I don't want to be thinking about somebody all the time, but that would be my process, so to speak.
It's funny because when I first started college, you know, I used to battle a little bit at Southern or whatever. And this is right around the time where it's just like the battles got disrespectful. Yo, I'll break your mother. Nah. And that's when I fell out of it. That's where I was like, I'll fight. I don't do all that.
He
I'll
said,
fight.
I'll
Like
fight.
the gun bars is cool. Okay, boom. Yeah, you put the fifth to my liver and make me cool. Whatever, that's cool. But when you start talking about my mother or my daughter, whatever, like that's when I get out of it. Just to give you a heads up, man, and I can link you, man. There's a battle league here in Baton Rouge that's actually like they brought down New Jersey Twerk, they brought down Official, they brought down 40 Bars, and like they're flying in battlers from all over the country or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So and they battles is up on YouTube. They get the local Louisiana people, but you know they popping off some bread too. So I'm if you ever interested in coming down here to battle, the battle scene is way better than the underground hip hop scene down here. I definitely in Baton Rouge. Just like you'll get like during the pandemic, they had like 200 people at this place, which I don't recommend at all. But I'm saying like they'll get people out to a battle. So and I'll link you up with them later. If you're
you know,
interested.
I'll pop out to host. I'm not trying to, you know, battle any local guys or anything like that. But I'll definitely pop out.
I'm saying like who was it? It was 40 Bars, and it was two URL people. I'm gonna look through the flyers. So like they do put local guys on, but like they'll bring out like people of your caliber too. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It did hosting too. Just like it's really dope. Like it's really dope. Wordsworth was telling me he was a fan of it. So last question, and this is something that we definitely have in common. Like our names is almost, I'm Marcel Williams, you Mark Williams. We, you know, that's something that's always cool. But one thing we definitely have in common, man. My last question, how has being a husband and father changed how you move as an artist?
Man, it's changed everything. I was really reckless before with everything when it came to life, alcohol, women, money, just being irresponsible. And when I got married and we had a kid, I began to realize that everything had to kind of slow down, especially financially. I wanted to make sure my family was secure. And when I started to research on a lot of different things, I realized that I didn't know anything when it came to being the head of a household. And now I feel like I am doing an amazing job. my son and my wife are my inspirations every day. Like I get up and I work hard every single day for them. My wife hasn't worked in 5 years. I'm able to take care of her and myself and my son, just strictly off of hip hop. And I go hard every day, man. I go hard every single day. And my son, when I look at him, he just gives me the drive to go harder, to push through, to make sure he is the best version of himself because his father is doing what he needs to do to make that happen. So, yeah, man, I think it's changed me to become more of a man. Like I feel like, by age, I was a man at 21, but I became a real man at 31, 32 years old. When you step up with that responsibility of solidarity between you and your wife, and the unselfishness of giving and providing for your children and your significant other. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Personal question.
And I think Hugh, and not to cut you off, I think Hugh exhibits that. I think that project exhibits that in its capacity.
That was next. But personal question before I get there. Do you go to therapy?
I'm trying to. We're trying to get that. It's with COVID, it's been a little difficult, and trying to get therapists on the phone has been a little tough for us. But that's a goal of ours in 2021 for myself and my wife. I want to go to therapy.
I asked that because, like I said, I met you in 2014, and talking to you now, like you're almost a different person. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying, and I mean that like in the best way possible. Good thing.
No, I know.
Like your spirit is a whole lot more calm. So I started there. My pops died last March, and I was a mental counselor for 3.5 years. But I started going to therapy and started unpacking. But you sound like a man who you're always introspective and you're always pretty transparent. But like you sound like a man who's been to therapy. And I do mine virtual now. You know what I'm saying? Try out betterhelp.com, and I'll tell you about that later. But my wife is doing. I'm trying to get it for my children as well. All right, so like you said, Hugh. So let's get to this. Let's get back to the music before we go here.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Boom. Here's the website. Talk to us about if you want to go to collages first. And then go to Hugh or however you want to do it. But let's talk about it. Talk about it in the order you want to talk about it in.
Yeah, well, let's talk about collages real quick.
Okay. Is that website I can just pull up a collages real quick? It's on this page too.
It should have been, but I don't think it's on there. We usually just focus on one album at a time.
Okay.
But as far as what collages goes, that was a quick process, man. It was one of those joints where I wanted to give to the people, and there was a lot of great music on there. A- was the product of that. And every record on there was very powerful for me. Everything. And I'm glad that people enjoyed it and loved it. It was a great project for me.
And I remember you saying how like you said it like you put it out like Blogger. You put it out with no budget. You just put it out.
No budget. No budget.
You just put it out, and it was dope, man. Just for me, I either listen to podcasts or I listen to like stuff that I could really think to when I play on my Xbox. And I'm like, man, this nigga here is spitting. You know what I mean? And like, I'm sick that my man Rick G's ain't get on the A- remix. You know what I'm saying?
I know,
I'm sick about that. Hopefully one day, you know what I'm saying, the most high see fit. But incredible album, man. Incredible album. Like I said, it's just, you're one of the people who I bring up. Like I have this thing against old heads who say like hip hop is dead and stuck in the 90s. Like y'all niggas just want to be like y'all was in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like Mickey Factz is rapping better than some of your favorite lyricists did in the 90s, and he's putting out shit in real time. So like you're one of the people who I go to when people say the niggas ain't spitting no more, specifically in our generation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we came up on them dudes, the cats is like in their mid 40s to 50s or whatever. That's people who raised us. And I feel like we don't necessarily like yourself, Sky Zoo, Locksmith. I feel like we don't get them props for us born in the early 80s. That's really carrying the torch of the culture because we're independent and we're not super duper famous. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so we don't get that look. And so you definitely do that. So let's get back to Hugh, man. Let's get back to Hugh. So let's talk about
let's go to Hugh. Yeah, I wrote Hugh in a week, recorded it in a day. And we got it done as far as singers on it in like 10 days, man. I wanted to put this out on his birthday, and I wanted it to be a last audio will and testament for my son. Like in the event something happened to him. A lot of my inspiration came from my brother Chris Rivers. He doesn't have any jewels or gems given to him by his father because rest in peace to Pun. He passed away before his son could ever know him in that facet. So I thought about that, and I was like, man, if something ever happened to me, I want my son to have this plethora of music that he can pull from and know that his dad cared and he wanted to do everything in his power to make sure he succeeds.
Full disclosure, I haven't listened to this yet. Reason being, I'm still grieving my pops. I remember, I'm a huge Sky Zoo fan. So when he dropped the Milestones joint about his son and his pops, like I bought it when it came out, but it took me some months to listen to it. And when I did, I cried like a baby. So I probably got maybe back another 10 weeks and a couple more therapy sessions before I really bumped this. But I saw you got the record. You got Tony Williams, who we remember singing with Kanye back in the G. You got Bun B on here. You know what I'm saying? And I forgot to say, shout out to Aisha for the poem she did on Warp Collages too. Shout out to her.
Yeah. We put a project. Yeah. We put a project of hers out on the same day as well.
She's an author as well, right? She writes books, right?
She's an author now. She's a recording artist now. That's crazy,
beautiful,
man.
Bro. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, brother.
I produced the whole project too. I produced that whole project as well.
You make beats?
Yeah. I make beats.
I know you make beats or whatever.
I made every beat on Mickey Mouse.
It makes sense because you put out a lot of music, so it makes sense you're producing your own shit, and it makes sense you got your own studio because you put out you probably out of all the rappers that I know, and it's a shame that I haven't got one yet. You probably do the most features per motherfucking capita any nigga I know, and that's something we got to get on. We got to get on some other shit later too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay,
but so just for clarification in terms of the project and for you to hear it, it's not really like Sky Zoo's project. So Sky Zoo's project was more of from a son's perspective of his father.
Mm-hmm.
This is a father's perspective to his children, his son. So it would be more like you playing this for your son. And obviously this is not me trying to coax you into listening to this. No. I just wanted you to
explanation. Yeah, I appreciate the explanation.
I wanted you to just kind of get that to know that I made this so that fathers could play this for their children and be inspired, as well as for Black boys to hear this and feel a sense of worth for their fathers, little Black boys, because I did this for him as a baby. So I want that to just be conveyed. And Sky Zoo's Milestone project is incredible.
It's super incredible. Like I had to hit him up. Dude, bro, like you come on, man. What are you doing here, man? Nah, but it's with the Furious style speeches and everything. Like that was dope. So I see you got a merch page on here, man. Is there anything else? You got Warp Collages. You got Hugh. Is there any other place you want to go to send people to buy t-shirts, CDs, or anything like that? Or you got the I'm assuming for people that's looking, you got the contact tab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just hit me here. Sign up for because I'm gonna start doing some bi-weekly newsletters. And we're in terms of merch, we didn't get any done because I was trying to get this thing done at a specific time. So just follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on.
He's definitely heavy and really responsive on Twitter. So that's his Twitter right there. You know what I mean? For people that are looking, twitter.com/MICKEYFACTZ.
Yes,
that
sir.
is he. Anything important you want to say to the people, good brother?
Yeah, man. Just take care of your family, wash your hands, wear a mask, buy some merch, support, listen to the music, man. That's how I just want to give back to the people, man. Save your money, man. Look into the stock market, buy real estate, buy some land, encourage somebody. That's what I'm all about, man.
100%. All right, so this is Marcel P. Black, man. Really Out Your Podcast with special guest Mickey Factz. Go to marcelpblack.com. Also, I did a terrible job of pushing my YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search Marcel P. Black. You will find all art and culture there or whatever. Allah Mahabe, freedom.